Anjelica, it's really fun to talk to someone, even though they may be familiar with the Addams family, specifically Morticia, but how would you describe the nature of your Addams alter ego?
Well, Morticia is she's very benevolent, she's very kind, she's mad about her husband, she's highly protective and of course, a devoted mother. She's, in this movie, of course, she's a new mother. There's the birth of the infant Pubert. And I think she's very benign, she's very sweet. Mm-hmm. If anything were to get between her and her family, woe betide them. But
I say I would want her.
No, you wouldn't. You wouldn't want her animosity. But and yet I think she's filled with love and is actually a very kind spirit.
Also, you get to do something on film that I don't think you've done previously. You have quite a impressive dance number.
Yes. I was very pleased to be able to dance, particularly with Raul, who's a wonderful Latin American dancer. And we do a routine in the movie where he twists me on the floor that was quite enjoyable. It's supposedly quite a well-known move in tango called the bum twist, and so.
And you did it very well.
Yes, I flung a few beads around the room.
And thinking about Morticia's, going back to what you said, she obviously is a lady she's very independent, yet she is a very loving person. And I was reading to get ready for this interview, and I wanted to ask you this question, that in your career and in your life, do you get irritated with people who try to counsel you and tell you what to do with your life? Is that almost like a pet peeve in some way?
Not many people do, actually, mercifully. Unless I ask for advice, and I often ask for advice, and then probably too much, because it's always a bad idea to ask too many people for advice. So I try to keep my own counsel pretty much. I reserve it to a narrow few old friends and my husband, and I sort of generally take the middle line.
When you won your Academy Award, did that in any way change your attitude about awards in general in Hollywood, with the way the system is, or anything of that nature?
Well, you really don't know what it is until you're in the spot, and it's actually kind of a disturbing spot to be in. Very nice, but also anxiety producing. I remember being very worried on the day of the awards. I was happy to be nominated, and there's a wonderful lunch that everyone goes to, all the nominees go to, and that's really pleasant. But something about the spirit of competition has always kind of given me cold feet. And I think consequent to the award, I had to do a reading the next day, and I really performed badly and didn't get the part. But I think one feels that maybe it challenges all of sort of one's existing values to that point, or something about it, and then of course life goes on. But it's not an easy position to be in, and you don't really want to care, and you do desperately. So.
Well, speaking of life. Raul, let's talk about Gomez on the other side of things. For instance, how would you describe him if he were to get really upset about something?
I think he gets so upset already. I mean, I can't imagine him getting more upset than he gets. He's so out there that it's hard to imagine him being more out there than he is. It would be too much.
Tell me about the dance scene. Anjelica spoke very highly of you and your ability to dance. And she said she was a little nervous, but describe that whole sequence for me.
Well, it's a tango, and we just do the tango. And the tango, of course, it's originates from Argentina. The tango that we do is not, I mean, the purists in Argentina would...
It's almost an Addams Family tango.
It's an Addams Family tango. That's what it is. I would call it a Addams Family tango, and it's fun. You know, it's bizarre. It says a lot about their relationship and how they are towards each other, and
they have a tremendous amount of passion.
They do. They love each other very much, and they're very romantic. And that comes out. They're passionate towards each other. They can't, you know, they've been married for many years, but they're still, the passion is still there.
Of course, there's an addition in this particular picture. There's a new addition to the family, and there are some other things going on. We don't want to give too much away. One thing I've always liked about the whole Addams family, the attitude, is their desire, what's the way I can put it, the desire to be naughty.
Yes, they love being naughty. That's how they entertain themselves. One of their main sources of entertainment is being naughty and playing pranks on people. And they think that's part of the spice of life, and they never really harm anybody seriously, but they can really annoy you if they want to and scare the living daylights out of you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Tell me about Raul, about Christopher Lloyd. I just mentioned him to Barry. Unfortunately, we won't get a chance to talk with him today. I'm a big fan of his, and you don't read that much about him. You see his work, and you don't hear much about him outside of his work per se. Working with him, though, how would you describe Christopher Lloyd?
He's a great technician. He creates a character. He creates a character in his imagination, and then he goes for it fully. And I admire that in an actor. He achieves his goals, and he goes all the way too. I mean, he goes to the limits. And I admire that.
If you yourself were not an actor, what path do you think you would have chosen for yourself in terms of a profession?
An actor. I don't know how else. I don't know what else I could be. Perhaps an opera singer. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But I'm very happy being an actor. But I love opera, and if I wasn't an actor, I would probably be an opera singer.
A black widow in some ways?
Yes, I would. I would consider her. She has those qualities. She mates, she kills. I don't know that much about the Black Widow spider. I can't get too in depth on that, but I can say that she's self-centered. She's all set to go and go by herself.
It's usually should change and which ones shouldn't.
Sure. It's funny, when we decided to make a sequel of The Addams Family, we had a problem. What do you make the story about? Who can you change, who can't you change? We felt it was very important that Gomez and Morticia remain sort of romantic icons. We didn't want to make a movie about Gomez having an affair or the breakup of the family as it related to them. I think the audience loves seeing them together as a romantic, loving couple. We had Wednesday and Pugsley, who were now 2 years older, and we could do things with them. And of course, you always come back to Fester, who sort of is the most plastic, who you can send on his little adventures. So that's what we did. We kept Gomez and Morticia as sort of the centering, the weight of the family and of the movie, and then we sent Fester and Wednesday and Pugsley on adventures outside of the house. Wednesday and Pugsley go to sleepaway camp, where they wreak havoc, and Fester gets married to Joan Cusack.
Let me ask you about another member of the cast who we will not be talking to today, unfortunately. In fact, I've never really seen any interviews with him.
With Chris Lloyd.
Yes, I think we talked about that the last time we saw each other. He seems to be a fascinating gentleman. I'm a big fan of his.
Yes.
But from your standpoint, just tell me a little bit about him.
Chris is very shy, but he's incredibly funny, and once he gets to know you, he relaxes. He's a great actor, great comedian, and not at all aloof. He's just really, I think, very shy. And what's great about Chris is you don't have to do a lot of directing with Chris. You can sort of take big shortcuts. With some actors, you'll talk about motivation or what their background was. With Chris, whenever a take wasn't working out, and I felt Chris was a little bit low on energy, or something, I'd just go up to Chris and I'd say, "Chris, be more like Fester." And he'd say, "Oh, okay," and then he'd be more like Fester. And that's all it took. I mean, to say to an actor, be more like who you're supposed to be, and that's the only direction I ever had to give, was a dream. I love working with Chris.
Makes your job very easy.
Yes, it does.
Also, for people who don't know, and hopefully they will know after they see the film, you have a couple cameos in there yourself.
Yes. I am not an actor, and you will realize that once you see the movie how much I'm not an actor. But Wednesday, when she goes to camp, falls in love, and she falls in love with sort of an asthmatic, allergic, whiny, nerdy, pathetic, pale kind of guy, and that was me. It's totally autobiographical, and I was too old. The producer convinced me I was too old to play Joel Glicker, the 13-year-old whiny asthmatic boy, but I could play his father, so Scott Rudin convinced me to play the dad, and I'm not very good, but I had a good time doing it.
No, it works very well.
Good.
We have about a minute left. Tell me about working with the two babies. That's always tough because there are very strict working laws about that,
right.
But obviously both adorable little girls.
Yes, Pubert is a boy. Pubert is born with a full mustache and head of black hair, looks just like Gomez, but we cast beautiful twin girls, Caitlin and Kristen Hooper, whose mother is truly a saint, to let us spend so much time with these girls, putting mustaches on them and all that was great. The girls are fantastic. Pubert is a gigantic addition to the family, and if Paramount does part 3, which I'm sure they will, I think you'll see more of the Puberts.
Very good. We're out of time. Good luck with this one. I think you have another big hit on your hands.
Well, thank you so much. It's nice to see you again.
Nice to see you again. Thank
Great.
you very much.
You bet.
I'm going to have everyone sign this and give this out to a viewer.
Oh, great. Okay. Oh, that's